So yeah, I just want to say at the start, thank you very much to Reza for asking me to speak here tonight. I want to do more speaking engagements. It's something that's a plan of mine this year, to do as many speaking engagements as I can to get as good as at them as I possibly can, and also to get the message out there for what I'm doing and what I believe in business. So thank you, Reza. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on your first birthday as well. You're looking great for it, so congratulations. And also, Ash, I've known for a long time. We've known each other for probably about 5 years or so, haven't we?
Too long.
And yeah, it's a little bit too long. I set up my business back 2.5 years ago. It was a great help at the start. It's been no help since, but it's a great help at the start. And it's just helped that he's set up this environment for us all to come and network. So that's the thank yous. Tonight I'm going to talk a bit about my story of why I started a business, why it was the most stupid best decision I ever made, and also the lessons I learned in my first 2.5 years of running the business. I'm learning lessons every day. But to start with, I just want to understand who the audience are a bit more so I can tailor the content to the audience a bit, hopefully. So hands up here if you're currently running a business. Cool, about 50%. And hands up here if you currently have an idea and you think you're going to start up a business soon. Cool, and a couple of people here. So hopefully this will be useful for the people who are already running a business. You could probably relate to some of the things that I've been through and the advice that I'm giving, and you may also think that it was the most stupid best decision you've ever made. And hopefully the people that haven't started their business yet and might in the future, you'll get some ideas of pitfalls to avoid and lessons to learn at the start to make it as good a success as you possibly can. So my journey of where my business starts, I think started when I was in university. So I studied at UE. And I studied business studies with marketing. I work in a marketing business now, which is Winbox. So it's kind of led on from there. But I was always a 2-1 student. I was okay, I used to get by. 2-1 is all you would need to get an interview for a company or to go on to postgraduate education. So I was a 2-1 student and that kind of worked for me. I knew really I wasn't pushing myself to the limit, but I thought, you know what, my parents will still be proud if I get a 2-1. And then I had a friend at university, and he was really a first student. He was a high achiever, he used to get the best results. So one time we thought it'd be a great opportunity. It's in my final year, I was handing in a piece of coursework, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity for us to switch courseworks, and we could kind of edit each other's. It was about a week until I was handing in that coursework, so we can give each other some tips, some hints on how to improve it and hopefully get a better mark. So he handed me his coursework, I looked through it, a couple of amends, a few grammar errors, a couple of things I thought we could improve on, handed it back to him, he looked over, said, yeah, that's great, thank you very much, I can make those improvements. And he handed mine back, and I said, oh, just a couple of things this week, is there? And he went, how long have we got to go out and hand it in? 1 week. I think you should start again. Well, brilliant, okay, I've got a week to start again, why do you think that? And he talked me all through it, and you can tell I was on the right track, but it just wasn't quite there. And I agreed with his comments, so I thought, well, it didn't take me that long to write. It was about 3,000 words, so why not? Let's start again and let's give it a go. So I did, I rewrote it. I didn't bother giving it back to him to edit for a second time, just in case a couple of days before the deadline he said, you need to start all again, and that wasn't going to happen. So I handed it in, and I got first, and I absolutely smashed the results. So I think you've got to get 70% to get a first, and I got 80%. So that really was the moment, and I think the turning point, where I realised, actually, I've got some potential. I can be a high achiever, I can get those top marks. I don't have to settle for being a nearly guy. And I was always a nearly guy, come second, come third, 2-1, those sort of results. I was quite happy with that. But it was the first time I realised, actually, I can achieve a first. I can be the top performer and a high achiever. So I think that helped along the way in the decision in starting my own business. My first job when I graduated from university was as a marketing executive. I was getting on very well. It was a company that turned over about £500,000, so it was a small company, but it wasn't a bad little setup. I did very well there, becoming a marketing manager. And the owner of the business, he was from India. He was married to a British lady, and they had 3 kids, 3 young boys. And he wanted his young boys to experience the Indian culture. So he said, Mark, I'm going away to India for 4 years. I need someone to take over the business. I want you to be that person. I want you to take over the business. £500,000 turnover. I was 23 at the time, and he was saying, I want you to be the general manager. It was a great opportunity. It was a good pay rise. It was good security. I was going to be in that job for the next 4 years. There was good benefits. So everything in place, and I've been working towards it. I should have been so excited. I should have been psyched. And he told me about their decision to offer the position to me the day before I went on holiday. So I was on holiday for a week and I was in Turkey, sunbathing, just reflecting on the decision and thinking whether it's the right thing for me. And I come to the realisation that it just didn't excite me. It didn't fill me with the excitement that I should have. I should have been popping champagne and thinking this is great, but I just wasn't. And so I thought, you know what? I don't want to be stuck in this business for the next 4 years. I don't think it's fulfilling my potential by making someone else money by starting up this business. So I went back, and the first day back, I plucked up the courage and I handed in my notice. I said, I'm leaving. And you can imagine how they reacted. What? We just offered you a promotion. We just offered you to run this company, this pay rise and the rest of it, this package. Why are you turning this down? And I had a meeting with everyone in the directors, but my mind was set I was going to run my own business. So how did I start to run my own business? Well, I kind of thought, well, now I need to come up with a brand. Email marketing was working really well for that company, and I can do that all myself, so I could offer that as a service. I seen the need for that in the market. I thought, how the hell am I going to make money? In the meantime, I had rent to pay, I had bills to pay, so I got a part-time job at B&Q. And I think I must have been the most useless DIY person to ever walk into B&Q, let alone work there. So people were asking for me advice on what components they need in their bathroom and what cabinet sizes they need in their kitchen. I didn't have a clue, but one of the good things was most of the other people working there don't have a clue either. So I didn't stand out like a sore thumb, and I got on okay, and I got on well with the managers. So that was good. That covered my basic needs, that covered my bills. So that's how I started the business. And where is the business now? So there's 3 of us in the company now. Helen is started about 3 weeks ago into the company, so sorry to embarrass you, but this is Helen, who can say hi. So we're growing, we've got a good amount of leads coming through at the moment as well, and we seem to be picking up clients quite easily, which is a nice position to be in. We have high ambitions and we have a long way to go, and it's going to be up and down road until we get there, but things are going pretty well and we're enjoying ourselves. Helen might tell you different, but I think I'm enjoying myself anyway. So with all of that, why was it the most stupid best decision I've ever made? Well, when I set up my business, I was in debt. I wasn't in massive debt. I was about in 2 grand overdraft. I had no real money. But that was, you would think if you were planning on setting up a business, you would save up money. So you got that buffer. You didn't have to get a job in a DIY store. But I didn't have that. I had no real income coming in. No guarantee of clients. I had no real right to specialise in the area that I was working in. So I was working in email marketing, but no one knew me for email marketing. I was 23 years old, I had no real right to be an expert and specialise in this area, so I blagged it a little bit at the start, and now I dedicate myself to learning as much as I can, and I always do. I put so much effort into making sure I'm on top of everything that's happening in the industry, so I can call myself an expert now and specialise in the area. But at the start, I was blagging it a bit, and I was aware of that. No real plan, no real brand. The branding come to me when it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up thinking, Winbox, that's a good name. So I went on 123reg, checked for the domain, you know all about domains, and it was there, so I was thinking, brilliant. So I bought that one, and that was the name. And just out of interest, I run an email marketing company. The name of the company is called Winbox. Can anyone have a guess at why it's called Winbox? Not you, Ash. Or you, Helen. Or you should know. Go on, Emretta.
I actually don't know. You would think I would know by now. But is it because your email is like your inbox essentially is where you find the most valuable information?
Kind of. So, see, I think it's obvious.
Feel free to say no.
Yeah, kind of, but no, not at all. I think it's obvious because inbox obviously is all to do with emails. Emails go into your inbox. And I'm a sports person as well. I love winning. I love sport. I play a lot of football, golf, tennis, do a lot of cycling. So W on the front, winning, all the connotations that go along with that. So I thought it's brilliant branding, but obviously it doesn't stand out, so it's rubbish. I've just learned that tonight, so thank you very much. That was a good bit of market research. So I had all of that, no real brand, no real plan, no guarantee of clients. I was in debt, but I never look back and regret that day that I set up that business. And something I often say is I live what I do and I love what I do. So that's something I think that anyone who runs their own business has to have. You have to live it and you have to love it. Because if you don't love it, you won't live it. And you have to live it because you have to represent your company at all times. And you need to work so hard in order to make it a success. And you need to take all the punches. You need to speak to the right people. You need to go through this roller coaster. And you won't do it unless you're proud of what you do and if you love what you do. So I really like that saying. And I think I come up with it. I don't think anyone else has said that, but I love and I live what I do. So that's what you have to do when you run your own business. So that comes on to lessons I've learnt over the past 2.5 years. And the first lesson is anyone here aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? So if you study business school, everyone is flipping out. So yeah, if you study business school, you probably will be. And at the bottom of that hierarchy of needs is basic needs. And I feel that if you're starting a business and if you're running a business, as long as you have those basic needs covered, you can risk all of the rest. Because you just need those basic needs covered. And that's different for every person. If you've got a mortgage, if you've got kids, your basic needs are higher. If you haven't, your basic needs are quite low. Mine, thankfully, it started quite low, so I can just work at B&Q and then I can set up. But just make sure you know what your basic needs are, so you're always comfortable and you always look after yourself, and then you can risk the rest in order to invest and grow into your business. Also, always think about the long term. As small businesses, as I assume most of the businesses here are, that's the advantage that we have over the big corporates. So the big corporates, they have to make short-term decisions because they have quarterly targets to hit, they have bonuses to hit. If they don't hit their quarterly targets, the CEO will be sacked, and it always comes from the top down. So always think for long term, because that's the advantage that we have, and that's the way to build a sustainable business. Think about the lifetime value of the client, and also being a sustainable business by doing things the right way, which will benefit you in the long term. At the start as well, it's okay to be in survival mode. So at the start, I took any work that I could because I was in survival mode. I had a plan of the work that I wanted, but you have to take whatever work you can at the start because you need to cover those basic needs. So it's okay to be in survival mode at the start. Something I've been doing recently as well, which has been working really well, which I encourage everyone here to do is, if they can, is to have mastermind sessions. So this is when you get 4 or 5 business people in a room like we do. We give each other 20 minutes each to talk about a problem that we have in our business or something that we're working on, and it's the power of the group to help you come up with solutions to that problem and talk it through. So mastermind sessions are really good for your business as well. So start them if you haven't done so already. Your most, so I'll put this in the group. What do you think is your most important resource when you're starting up a business? Anyone, just feel free to shout out.
Time.
Have you seen my script?
Have I just got
Did you see that? And that's exactly right. And I know Ash has been through this roller coaster, and your most important resource is time. Some people think it's money, some people think it's knowledge, some people think it's contacts. It's time, because that's what we have if you have no money. And you need to put that time in, you need to put the effort in and the hustle, as people call it, in order to make your business a success. So do not waste your time that you're starting when you're running your business. In the first 6 months or so, I used to spend so much time travelling around and going to pointless meetings just because it might be that one person that springboards me to the next level. But you've got to be smarter than that. You need to pick your meetings wisely. You need to try and condense down your travel time or make use of that travel time and have Skype meetings, the rest of it. So time is the most important resource. Get really good at managing that time. A book that I read, which was really useful for managing my time, was Tim Ferriss, The 1 Hour Working Week. I know Reza loves it. I can see Ash nodding. So there's a lot of rubbish in that book, but there's also a lot of good things about productivity, saving tips and enhancing tips and getting really good at time management. So I never want to work a 4-hour week. I love and I live what I do. But it's really good tips to make sure I'm effective with my time. So that's one lesson that I learned. Also, learn a lot. So always be learning, always be developing yourself, and never waste the opportunity to learn. So go along to nights like this, hopefully you learn something from talking to people and listening to people. Also when you're commuting, so I have a half-hour commute into the office and back each day, always listen to audiobooks, always make the most of that time. You could listen to mind-numbing radio, and that's quite nice sometimes, but never miss an opportunity to learn, because that's really going to help you in whatever business you're in. Always act with the right intent. Again, that goes back to running a sustainable business and the lifetime value of your company. And you must work hard. There's no shortcuts, and no one will do it for you. So you often hear from marketing people, and you often hear from business coaches, I can help you get from 1 million to 10 million, or I can help you get your first 10,000 clients, whatever it might be, and it almost gives you an impression that they're going to do it for you. Yeah, they might give you some great advice, but no one's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself, or you have to hire a team that you can lead and do it with them. And that was really the lessons that I wanted to impart tonight. I hope that was useful. If you do have any more questions, you can tweet me at Winbox Marketing. You know the name now, Winbox, and I reply to all of them, so feel free. And on that note, is there any questions tonight?
You're a prolific networker. What are your top three? Let's go three. What are your top three tips for being successful when you're networking?
When you're networking, so one is when you go networking, don't just talk about yourself when you're talking to people. You want to plug your business. You want to see if they're interested, but talk about the other person a lot more. Ask them questions, get to know them. There's nothing more annoying when you're in a networking environment and the other person's just talking about himself and they're not interested in you. So that's one. Pick the networking groups you visit wisely. So think about who's going to be there, whether your target audience, and what you can learn from it, because you can waste so much time being your most important resource. Go along to a lot of different networking events. And three, take advantage of speaking opportunities like this, because they're really good for your self-development and hopefully for making connections and things as well. Cheers.
Anyone else?
How do you stay out of people's spam folders? Because like, I get a load of emails each day, and a lot of them just go into my spam folder because they're all just the same old, generic emails.
Yeah, and so email marketing deserves its bad reputation because there is a lot of spam and there's a lot of crap out there. But the good thing now is the spam filters are so much more sophisticated and they're a lot more in reputation. So the best way to stay out of spam folder is to create really good content. Only send it to people who have opted in or are customers or prospects. Don't just send it to a cold list, and build up that good reputation so you get good engagement with your campaigns. The spam filters will see that and keep you going into the inbox time after time.
Said that before.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I think we'll one at the back first, yeah?
How do you get icons into subjects? So sometimes you get one for big companies, you see a little icon in there.
Like an emoji in the subject line. So there's a website called copyandpastecharacter.com, and there's plenty of websites like that, and you literally just copy and paste the character in the software that I use anyway, which is Campaign Monitor, which I've tried them all and I think that one's the best. So we white label that one for all of our clients, and you just paste it in, and it's simple as that. If you use MailChimp, I know you can just add them in anyway, but it's a really good point and it's something good to do, because what you want to do is stand out in the inbox from, so as businesses we get 120 emails per day on average. So you want to stand out from all the rest of the clutter on there, and because not everyone is using emojis at the moment in their subject lines, it's a really good tip just to stand out, but it's usually just copying and pasting it in. Yeah. Sorry, we had one there.
What's the name of that company, the emoji?
Copyandpastecharacter.com, and then the things like / emojis.
Okay, and you mentioned about not approaching the cold customers, and how do you make them not cold and make them what's the...
Okay, so you want to encourage people to opt in for your list.
Yes.
So there's a simple formula for getting people to opt into your list, and it is a valuable incentive times lots of opportunity to subscribe. So that valuable incentive is your lead magnet. That's a guide, that's a top 10 tips, that's an exclusive video. So something that your audience perceives as real value and will give their email address and their details in order to receive that incentive. And be upfront and honest as well, and tell them that they're then receive your monthly newsletter or whatever it might be. Then the lots of opportunities to subscribe is things like a scroll box on your website, a like box on your website, call to action buttons, tweets on your social media channels telling people to opt in and receive this guide. When you're at exhibitions, nowadays you can have a subscribe form on your iPad and people can just opt in straight away for your communications then to take part in a raffle if you incentivize them, that sort of thing. But that's the formula, a valuable incentive times lots of opportunities.
So hence the newsletters and the free this and the free that and the free,
that's it. But you really need to understand your audience to know what they perceive as real value.
Okay.
Any more questions? I can see there are a lot of email marketing questions. Do you want to tell us about it on the Winbox show as well? And Winbox winners, hashtag Winbox winners?
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. So we're currently running, we've shot 4 episodes so far. It's a Q&A video called On the Winbox. So people tweet us email marketing questions and we give the companies a shout out on the show and we also answer their questions. So it's a little bit like if you come across the Gary Vaynerchuk Ask Gary Vee show. Anyone here? If you haven't, definitely check it out. We got the inspiration from there, but it's all about email marketing. So if you do have an email marketing question, I would really appreciate it if you can tweet it to us with the hashtag WinboxWinners. We'll give you a shout out on the show, and we'll also answer your question. And other people will have that question as well.
How's Winbox different from Aweber or MailChimp?
So they're the platforms, so they're the actual like software providers, whereas we manage the campaigns. So we come up with a strategy for the campaigns, and that's what we're really solid at. We design the emails, and we know the tricks to get high engagement rates. We write the copy for you, and again, we know specialist copywriting techniques for emails. We send emails, we analyse them, we learn from them and improve them over time. So we really manage the whole strategy rather than just provide a platform to send the campaigns.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marc.
Thank you very much. Cheers.